interface live in action as well. It'll be CCS's first glance at it. Of course, the operator buffs have come into effect too. So if you have not been as familiarized with the changes that have been made to this game over the last couple days, it was yesterday there was a patch that was released that made some tweaks to a couple operators. Ella is now down to 40 bullets, and the concussion effects have been reduced across the board. You can sprint through her Ella mines. Capital received a bit of a buff as well with his damage going up and his recoil going down. So we'll get to see those and see if they make any noticeable changes. And I like that CCS is going to be kind of this testing ground right now, because
Right.
we're a month away from the next round of Pro League, just a little over a month rather, about 3 weeks from the group stages at the Invitational. So because of that, we get to see our first blush in a North American League right here, right now, and see, is Capital going to be a strong and almost a must pick? Is Ella going to see any reduced play? And most importantly, how much are we going to enjoy this new spectator that we have, spectator mode?
Right. Obviously, Hydra's already picking Capital. They might have already practiced with him, I'm sure, just at least a little bit, just to make sure that he's actually viable and that the buffs that have been given to him are actually important. But when it comes to this defensive setup right here, where Pulse is, I think he's going to be a big factor here. There might be looking for a Nitro Cell from underneath, maybe some kind of utilization of the cameras with Valkyrie as well. Still Ella being picked, however, and we're just going to see how much of a nerf she really did get in a competitive setting, because right now everybody just playing ranked is experiencing it, but we're going to see it firsthand here. Like you said, this is once you said this is the testing ground of what's going on here.
Already, we see a pretty typical move inside of Master Bedroom. That is going to be the most important part of this push. Undoubtedly, they will take that front hatch and work their way in. You'll have a buck up top. You can see already Aviation getting set up to look down and peer over top of those west main stairs, and then put some pressure on the kitchen itself, just in case there is somebody who opts to rotate up. Blackbeard looks to be over by main lobby. You can likely have him hold those double doors, but first kill is going to go to RTC, and Anime tries to go outside and right into those red beams of that Claymore, and first kill is actually going to go to a Capitao, so we can already see that maybe it's just coincidence, but already performing really, really well. Some asphyxiating bullets go down, and the defense, the Nomads, they have lost their Pulse and their Jaeger, but still the Valkyrie, and of course the Ella, who a bit weaker than she was a couple days ago.
Yeah, obviously we can already see that the verticality here is important, especially, you know, Valkyrie tried to use a C4 to get a kill utilizing a camera inside of Master Bedroom, but didn't quite get anything. Pulse maybe getting a little bit too aggressive, lost his life to a Claymore that was placed. The offense intelligently knew what was going on there. Blackbeard is still up top watching from K9, as it's called, and Ash is looking to push in through the dining room double doors. Is Legion going to be available and ready to attack? The verticality right now is putting him in a very awkward position, and Ash is about to push in here. Getting rid of that barbed wire is important. She's waiting now for a cue of some kind of drone. Blackbeard is still watching Ash's flank. Legion is actually rotating now back around. Ella and Legion are both downstairs. Valkyrie, the only one inside of Trophy, trying to hold an angle as Ash is carefully moving in here.
And they have the numbers as well to be able to set themselves up for at least one trade. You can see that even though Sharsh has taken some significant or some not so insignificant damage, will still be able to get frags if need be. That's one thing about this game that is wonderful, is even when you are low on health, you are still capable of landing that one-shot headshot. Sharsh is going to sneak up the stairs of West Main. There's a Claymore up top, doesn't want to meet his fate, similar to the way that we saw Anime, but will leap over top of it and now start his assault inside of the bedroom, but RTC there on late flank watch. That'll leave the Valkyrie and the Ella to now not just contest with an entire team, but also that diffuser Cali pops out and gets taken down inside a Trophy. So Euphoria will need the clutch ace. His progress up the top of West Main halted once again by that Claymore, sees the Capital, but RTC a very good 3K on this round, and that is a flawless start for Hydra. What a way to set expectations for your team.
Judging off of that attack, I wouldn't. That round was obviously not one of the most dynamic rounds we've ever seen. It was a lot of stagnant play, but very methodical and well thought out play by Hydra. Considering that they got the numbers up quite early in the round, they just step by step just moved through their play, their strat, and it just worked obviously flawlessly that round. So
I liked that they kept the Capital on flank watch too. I think it was perfect use of the operator. You have an ACOG, so he can sit up top by that bed and make sure that if anybody pushes, you're not conceding control. And a big part of why that play worked was because they didn't lose any of their operators at all. Now, if let's say it's a 3v3, or let's say it's even a 3v2 in favor of the attackers, you've got 3 attackers left and 2 defenders left, you're a little hard pressed to commit one of your operators to the top of master bedroom and sit them up over that hatch and aggressively flank watch the way that RTC did. But very smartly, they had such a large advantage that you can use that body count to your advantage, not just on the main floor, but also from above, and just ended up being too much. A nice 3K, like I said, and 2 of those were on the flank push. So, I mean, if you're Nomads there, an ill-advised first push got you killed by the Claymore, and then of course by the Capitao too. And then I think that really that set the round in motion in favor of Hydra. And there was very difficult circumstance for Nomads to be able to come back, especially with how disjointed their defense was from that point on.
Exactly. So far into this round, do you have Ash pushing in through the West Main lobby, or at least just shooting it down, waiting on some kind of a drone call out from his teammates? They have to gain control a little bit of the up top. They want to utilize the Hibana to open up that hatch if it is reinforced. We don't quite know if it's reinforced yet, but Ella is playing in Trophy. Might go for a shot there. Almost gets taken down there by Zofia. Zofia has to be very careful here, as Ella will take her down. Is now going to rotate back down intelligently. Very, very low health, but gets that pick and is going to rotate back to site and most likely get picked back up. Valkyrie now is hiding inside of Trophy, and does the offense know that she's there? Her positioning right now is important to this defense, but they do have that one-man advantage, and Nomads have to be careful pushing in now, as they just lost one of their operators that has a ton of utility to utilize that didn't get used at all.
So Ella does get picked back up. Nyx will be back up to 50 health, as Sharsh does the very similar play to what we saw in the first round. Open it up, make sure that there's no rotate from the basement of West Main. But a big difference here is that the actual site is in the basement rather than being on the main floor. So a rotate coming from West Main would essentially be to try to cut off the push rather than to just get back to the site. You can see he's now going to be able to buck away at the top of main lobby stairs, and one of those frag grenades used to destroy the barbed wire and aid the rest of his team or himself at pushing down. Now, take a look at where RTC is positioned. He was doing flank watch on attack, and he's doing the exact same thing now on defense inside of Kitchen Trophy. He does have the drop available to him and will use it to get inside of main garage. That's very convenient if you know that there's a push coming in through big garage, but at the moment, there's nobody there. There's going to be a push through bar and open it up. With a minute left, Nomads pretty far behind where I would imagine they need to be to start their strategy. Euphoria is going to eliminate RTC. And that was a Valkyrie inside a main garage. So now we're at 4v4 as we hit the final 45 seconds. You got your Zofia down. That will be some utility off the board, but I would imagine that she won't be integral for this push that we see now.
Yeah, Hibana just looking through above, just trying to get some kind of an extra pick from above before they can actually execute their push. There's only 30 seconds left, so they really have to make something happen. But as I say that, Bandit will get a nice kill onto Buck. Nail getting another kill there, and Nyx getting picked off, or getting a kill and then getting picked off and traded. Ella coming up the main stairs will kill Blackbeard, and now has the diffuser marked and is going to mark it, letting Mira know. And now also throwing a Elamine on top of it. With 10 seconds left, Ash has to push in, but it's not looking good for her. That Mira placed right there obviously is just going to halt her progress completely. Mira must have rotated up top as well, and there's just nobody in the sight for even Ash to get a kill. That defense round right there was just too easy. It just looked too easy.
A smart rotate by the defense to get out of there. And one thing that we see, and I really cannot stress this enough on all parties, is when you have the diffuser down, or when you hold a numbers advantage and the clock is in the final 20 seconds, hide. Camp the diffuser or hide. Make it so that you are not going to put yourself in a position to be either traded off or taken down. How many times we see teams that get very aggressive and go for that final kill and engage in the bloodlust that ends up losing them a round because they foolishly attack the last member of the opposing team, who at that point, their sole job is kill the remaining defenders. The best way to stop them from doing that is to hide. And we don't see teams do that. Hydra did that very well. Nomads just in a position where they couldn't get to the final 2 operators in time. And I touched on it earlier. I think the biggest thing was it was a byproduct of the time left on the clock. They took way too long to clear out the 2nd floor and then get to the 1st floor. When you're hitting hatches, you haven't opened up either garage and you haven't really applied any pressure to wine outside of a hatch above you. And there's only 45 seconds left on the clock. And on your even numbers with the defense, you're in really bad shape. And I think that's what it came down to. You got to push. The defenders knew where they were going to push from. All they needed to do was wait, and Hydra was able to clean up on those kills. And Nomads, they had been maybe even 20 or 30 seconds faster, probably would have had a better shot at being able to take that site.
So what we're seeing here coming out of this offensive push, Nyx has moved into game room and is going to be following a drone up the staircase, at least trying to figure out if there's anybody up in the library. Ella is downstairs by the big garage hallway. Capitao is now climbing the ladder up towards library, waiting to see if he can get a pick on Jaeger. They know he's up there. They did drone him out. Jaeger has to be careful that he doesn't get pinched right now. Ash is down below him, just waiting to come up these main stairs. Capitao is going to be on the window, and Buck is also there as well. He's now getting currently pinched by 3 people, and Buck will get that kill onto Jaeger as he peeks as the grenade did get thrown. That was a very nice pinch coming from 3 different angles to take down that Jaeger. Now they just need to move in slowly and make sure that they don't get traded back out so they can keep that one-man advantage. I'm not sure exactly where this push is going to be formulating, but it seems like Nyx has his plans of his own to move straight down through blue, and he's now has full control of blue, but Ella is still in the dining room. She can pose to be a very difficult adversary now for this offense to move through, as Mira now places a Mira facing the back, figuring out exactly where this push is coming from. And that's actually a very nice angle to watch blue, but Ash can see her and almost takes her down. It was very, very close while Mira escapes by the skin of her teeth.
That's really the only angle that they can get, as they know now that the garage will remain safe. Opening salvo from Hydra as Nyx and Aviation get it on the action and fell both Callie as well as Sharsh. But Throw does his best to try and keep it close between the two. There's still 3 defenders down. Make that 4 as now Throw gets eliminated from Male, and it's all up to Euphoria yet again. For the 2nd round in a row, Euphoria is going to have to clutch, or 3rd round rather. He manages to take down the Buck and finish him off. So Aviation is off the board, but you've got a Blackbeard, a Hibana, and a Capitao. The Jiggle Peek around the corner, and the reduced magazine of the Scorpion already showing a little bit of its effects, but they waste enough time to get that diffuser down. And as you can see, another actually spectator changes. The timer is in the top middle now between the scoreboards. Euphoria gets RTC and just has a small fraction of Male's health, as well as the Blackbeard of Rudy to go through. Cam's marking away, but you can see the attackers have scrambled off of the site and will just simply wait for Euphoria to start banging away on the diffuser. Just over half of it in terms of time, all gone, and Male watches on stairs. Good perspective, but not even needed, as Rudy Cat holding a tight angle through the opened hatch and finishes off Euphoria. And this is Hydra up 3-0. Not to take away from either of these teams, but you couldn't have expected it to be a 3-0 this soon.
Yeah, that was a very convincing attack, and all of the rounds for Hydra really have been just spectacular so far. I can see why they probably, wanted to play this map, especially versus Nomads. But one thing I wanted to point out, you mentioned the last round previously about, teams challenging in a 1v1 situation when they don't really have to. And on the reverse side of that, that happens for the offense as well. When they challenge a defender who has to try to has to hit the diffuser, and they challenge unnecessarily and end up getting killed, and then the defender's able to get the round. What we saw there was just nice, coordinated play by Hydra in order to just push or put Ella into a position where the offense has the advantage at all times, which was above the hatch, one watching flank, one watching the direct, access to the diffuser, and it was just textbook. But now what we're going to see out of Hydra here is a defensive round that could put them on match point, and it's all really up to Nomads here to actually make something happen. They have to, coordinate their pushes a little bit better and just try to get those trades in their favor. Just right now, it just doesn't seem to be working out for what we've seen so far.
They have to find something, and you only get a couple chances. Now, let's not forget, this is Hydra's map. Could have been a situation where they didn't feel particularly confident, but I mean, even if this is your map, it's not gonna prevent your opponent from getting C4'd, and that's exactly what happens as the Twitch of Throw gets eliminated. All Miras would rest safely were there any on the board. There are of course none, so really your Twitch drone with those newly reduced 5 shocks would your primary goal would potentially be taking out the bandit charges, maybe ADSs to aid in a smoke push or a frag grenade. There are of course no smokes available, so it would only be frags at this point, and then maybe even taking out those concussion mines from Ella. But like I said, even though it's Hydra's map, and even though Nomads might not be the most confident on this map, some of the things that are happening, you can't really chalk up to maps itself. And Mail just completely clueless as anime on K9 completely beheads him. And that is the Blackbeard not even going for an ACOG, instead running that reflex sight, assuming that the Blackbeard is going to be engaging at closer angles rather than going from afar. So my guess would be they're going to probably have another operator designed at sticking a greater distance between themselves and the defenders.
I'm liking some of the adaptation that we're seeing out of Nomads, bringing a IQ to find those Valkyrie cameras, but Valkyrie didn't even get played this round, and it didn't come in handy to figure out where Pulse was. Pulse got that C4 kill, most likely utilizing his sensor and then throwing the C4, as IQ will then get a kill onto Smoke. That's a huge kill, very, very important to get rid of those smokes off the board. I don't know if Smoke actually got a chance to even use any of them, but that's a lot of important utility that needs to get taken care of before the last 30 seconds of the round when Smoke is most dangerous. Right now, Pulse is shooting a couple drones, trying to stay alive. Underneath the hatch, he's playing a very dangerous game, but Sharsh has rotated back around and might actually spot Pulse from the kitchen window if he's not careful. Ella, however, will take down IQ, running out from that bottom trench door. And now Jaeger has rotated back downstairs. We saw this before with Ella and Jaeger both playing downstairs. Blackbeard coming down the main stairs, getting into that closer engagement like you had mentioned before. But Jaeger and Ella are both going to be aware of his presence now, as one of the walls to the trophy room has been, or part of the wall of the trophy room has been opened up by Hibana. Right now, Pulse, the only one anchoring, as Jaeger and Ella are both downstairs waiting to go for some kind of a flank here. They know where Pulse is. Blackbeard might have to actually jump in and kill him here. He's just waiting for that peek. He saw him there for a second and does get that kill. Very, very nice, as Hibana will come inside now. As Ella tried to run out, they know where she is now, but where's Jaeger? Jaeger coming up on the flank from the west main stairs. Hibana sees him for a second, goes for that pre-fire and downs him. Now it's all up to Ella in a 1v3 scenario. Coming up, might be able to pick him up. Nope, Blackbeard will take down Jaeger. And now it's all up to Ella, who is going to be moving. Ella moving very, very carefully. Doesn't want to give away her position quite yet, but knows that she has to make something happen quickly before she has to go for the diffuser, and it's too late. Hibana holding an angle on the dining room. Ella going for that pre-fire, is going to look back towards dining, trying to bait somebody out, as Blackbeard is over in that corner. Is going to take a couple shots at him. Ella still has to make some kind of a move here, as Blackbeard will actually take him down there. Actually, it wasn't Blackbeard over at the dining. It was, who's the other operator left? It was Ash. Ash over by the dining room table, but Hydra just looking too strong. Hydra OP.
Anime with a 4K as well on that round. Didn't get the early down, but was able to finish off the Jaeger.
Oh, it was Nomads won that round. Excuse me.
4-2. And yes, the very first round win for Nomads. I believe it was Euphoria who got the other kill earlier on in the round to deprive Anime of the ace. And finally, they can stop them from getting 5-0'd. One round right now could be enough to build a comeback off of. Nomads looked a lot more comfortable there. It just seemed to be that Hydra was a little bit scrambled on their defense, and then they lost 2 pretty important gunfights. And when that happened, there's not much you can do. Add to that the fact that there was a bit of that clueless play from Mailman just sitting exposed on stairs with the open window. I don't know if they thought that they had maybe done some intel work on that outside balcony on K9 to know that there was or wasn't a Blackbeard there. But I mean, you can't be sitting on stairs exposed on a cam when you've got one of those windows open, because operators can get up top very, very quickly. If they have control of the second floor, be it office or master bedroom, very difficult, or it's not very difficult for them to get out onto that balcony too. And at that point, I mean, they had a really good start eliminating Throw, Hydra did, but then they just ended up unable to close out the rest of the round. Nomads can start their comeback here, round number 5, and Hydra on attack. I don't know, from your perspective so far, have they looked better on attack or defense? Let's ignore the last round where they just lost on defense. Have they looked better on attack or defense so far?
100% attack. I think that it's just been just an onslaught of, you know, coordinated, methodical pushing forward. It's not like a rush, you know, nothing seems like it's out of the realm of possibility for them. anticipate every possible scenario, adapt to it appropriately, and take it one step at a time, and just don't panic. It just seems very coordinated, and that's important. But historically, Nomads is this kind of a slow starting team, and like you mentioned, maybe this defense round that they excuse me, this offense round that they just won could spark a bit of a comeback here. Euphoria playing downstairs. Jaeger's actually going to try to play his life here in the master bedroom. There's really no way for him to come back out. Goes for a little bit of a shot there on Buck, and he's just going to play his life. He has to play up here as long as he possibly can, just to delay as much time as possible. His teammates are on cameras trying to help him out, and there's a lot of pre-firing going on towards him. Is there a way for Jaeger to get out of here? I really don't think there is, as Buck does open that wall. Is going to start to push in as well. There is one waiting outside that window just in case he tries to jump outside. Jaeger in a very, very precarious scenario. A nade going off the door frame is going to try to move him around, and he's going to push back towards, and it's actually going to get naded on. The nade's actually going to work in Jaeger's favor and kill Buck. That's actually a really, really good trade if you think about it, because now they don't have any utility to open up the floors, and it gives the defense that little bit of extra breathing room to move around and maybe hide in a corner they wouldn't normally be able to.
Could have been thrown back his way. Thoreau, who was felled by a C4 last round, will get the last laugh, as now RTC gets taken down by a similar method, leaving 3 members of Hydra left, 2 of whom have lost about half of their life. That's the Blackbeard and the Ash. Now, no Nitro Cell available for Sharsh, but if you're accurate enough and your opponent stops moving for long enough, that UMP can shoot through the floor long enough to take somebody down, especially given that Nyx is sitting at about 55 health and Rudy Cat sitting at about 50. Now, final 40 seconds, a double door position for both the Hibana as well as the Blackbeard, and some more intel work being given by the defenders. Pulse trying to determine the location of the push, spies Nyx through double doors, but before he can capitalize on downing the Ash, Rudy Cat perched up on that big window inside a kitchen will eliminate him. Mail manages to revive Nyx, and that'll put them back at a 3v3 as Euphoria, Callie, and Throw, the 3 members of Nomads. Throw takes one down. That's his 2nd kill on the round. Nyx is off the board. So you've got a Blackbeard and a Hibana. Tries to take the Hibana out, and he'll get it. A headshot as Callie joins in, and Nomads strings 2 together. A good start from Hydra now is being answered by 2 in a row from Nomads, their opponents.
This is what I like to see. I like to see Nomads coming back here, and I think what we saw from that round was the vertical play for the offense got denied, but the vertical play for the defense did not. As Pulse and Mira, both with C4s in hand, Pulse didn't quite get a kill, but Mira did, most likely with the help of Pulse telling him where to throw the C4, because Pulse's scanner can be used as for an intel, not only for himself to try to roam or to try to get that C4 kill from underneath. He can use it to tell his teammates exactly what's going on. And at the crux of that round, where Ash and Hibana had to push in through that dining room double doorway and get those kills, with Blackbeard sitting on the kitchen window, unfortunately, once the numbers kind of started dwindling and Blackbeard sat outside that window, he really didn't have a way to help. Yes, he did kill Pulse, but Mira holding that angle was just too much for the offense to try to take down at that moment, and they really needed to make something happen. It just kind of didn't work out for them, but Nomad's coming back here with a vengeance here. Hydra have to, kind of buckle their straps here for a second just to try to figure out something, because I feel like Nomads have adapted to Hydra's strategies and are kind of picking up on how they can come back and maybe win this map, even though this was Hydra's pick.
Hydra plays very well when the other team is not as aware of an aggressive, constant pressure strategy. So this is something that I found that they did when they were Nerva, and I mean, since they've tinkered with their roster, a lot of it still speaks true, is that you don't really have your support, your flank watch roles the same way. They all frag well no matter what they're doing and are capable of executing a strategy and getting the kills if needed, no matter what. Now you can see some bandit tricking going on the snowmobile garage. Can't get both of them at the same time, so a small peephole will be opened up by Hibana after one of Thermite's exothermic charges were taken off. Flash from Euphoria completely misses its mark, and another bandit trick as they're just trying to blind the bandit. A second round of X-Kairos will go, and none of them will work. So you've been able to bandit trick 10 of 12 X-Kairos pellets so far, as well as one of Thermite's exothermic charges. Pretty good work from Mailman thus far. But touching back very briefly on the strategy is I find that Hydra has worked very well in the past and continues to do so when working with teams that are not as coordinated as they need to be. And Nomads looked a little lost a couple of the first rounds. They've now managed to tighten that up. And if we can go and say, hey, this can be a lot closer than we think. Nomads can win this. Now we've got ourselves real game. What do we think the community thinks? Well, here are the community vote results for you. 41% of you thought that Hydra Gaming would win, whereas 59% Nomads.
So what's coming out of this offense right now, what I find to be most interesting is the Jackal pick. Obviously, yes, the roamers from Hydra have been an issue. We're seeing RTC still sitting here back by the trophy room wall, and Jackal is just watching this closet which has been opened, and it actually hasn't been opened, has been, oh wow, that was a very aggressive push coming out of Jackal as Smoke threw that and kind of threw that away here. Hydra now in a very good scenario, but unfortunately is going to put themselves in a scenario where Nomads is going to get that trade back. Ash pushing through the smoke here. I'm not quite sure why to take that unnecessary damage, but must have thought it was an essential part of what was going on. Ash has to push in now, though. 100% has to push in through that smoke in order to avoid getting down, because that smoke was very, very well thrown. And now Smoke himself will get a kill with the shotgun. He's playing this angle very, very tight, but Hibana will come in and take him down and go for that trade. Aviation now, as Mira holding this angle, as Hydra once again with that flank is going to take down one right now. Hibana chasing down Mira will try to get that kill, but Mira coming out on top. The Jackal just didn't really come into effect. That yeah, they had, you know, they had him for that to prevent the roam game, but they just never found the one roamer, which was Valkyrie just hiding in trophy the entire time. I find that quite strange in that regard as they move into match point.
A couple things here just to take note of for me was, number one, the way that Hibana played that push was wrong. I mean, the Mira was holding a tight angle next to the doorway and connector or closet, depending on what you call it, just by where the typical Mira spot would be. He knew that the Mira would be there of Aviation. He knew that he was going to be standing there, but he missed as he pushed. And that was just that was a skillful error. That was his mechanical skill failed him. His game knowledge was there, but he wasn't able to snap to the Mira quickly enough. And it was very easy for Aviation to be able to pull off that kill. But the bigger story is that Nomads had gone on a bit of a tear, looked to be getting under the skin of Hydra to a certain extent. They were winning quite well and pretty definitively taking those rounds away from Hydra, whereas we just saw the opposite, and Hydra managed to play quite well, frustrating Nomads on defense. And now you said that you think that Hydra's played better on attack. They have lost an attack round as well as a defensive round. I would agree. I think that Hydra looked better on attack so far. And there's nothing really out of the ordinary here on the defense that I think are going to be able to, I guess, confuse or shake up the push from Nerva. Or not Nerva, from Hydra. I guess old habits die hard. So for me, the biggest thing to notice, my observation, is just going to be how well is Hydra going to be able to execute their strategy, get an early pick, and then get yourself in order, similar to round number 1, where you used your extra operator numbers to your advantage.
Right, and actually, right as that mirror window got placed, Buck opened up the closet pretty much immediately right after that. It must have been kind of scary for Nomads there. That's probably not what they anticipated to have happen at all. Ash getting rid of that barbed wire, just going to be moving into position. It seems like the offense has a lot of control upstairs, and that's actually a very, very nice hold that he made to watch the upper part of West Main lobby. That's going to definitely catch a defender off guard if they try to flank from there, but at the moment it doesn't seem like that's to be the case. Male right now just opening up more of the wall, trying to create some kind of an extra angle for them to utilize to give cover. Thermite is going to put a claymore down by this doorway and is going to open up the closet. Fortunately, when that wall comes open, most likely one of these defenders is going to have to come out if Bandit can't get the juggle off. It looks like he is going to get the juggle off. Very, very nice coming out from Cali right now, anticipating where Thermite was going to place that charge. Right now, Thermite still just holding this angle at the defender playing behind the table. Ella watching this angle behind in blue, making sure that their back is covered. Jaeger will spot Hibana running across there to try to help open up that closet wall. They have to get that open, as Thermite will place his charge and Bandit will get that second charge. Now Thermite's utility is all used up, and Smoke has 2 more smokes left to use. Right now, Ash and all the rest of the offense seems to all just be ready and stacked up, just waiting to push in as they're just getting ready for this final push here in the last 45 seconds.
And that opened mirror as well as the soft wall on the west side of line will all help the defense be able to stop this push. And there will be more angles for the defense to look through than there will be avenues to push in at the moment for the attackers. Callie gets lead-off kill, and that's a double for the Bandit as Rudy Cat and Mail go down, and Nomads looking to just hold on. Throw jumps in on the action now in a 5v2. Callie gets 3 before getting taken out by RTC, and Throw finishes it off in a wonderful 3 and 2 kill effort. A full house, as we'd call it, for Nomads to stave off defeat, at least on Chalet. Still match point 4-3, but we could be seeing overtime if Nomads able to put in work as they head to attack.
That was a very, very nice defensive hold. I mean, like you said, there were only so many places for the offense to actually push through there. And even though they did have smoke as that cover, once smoke goes down, it's only concealment. It's not necessarily like physical cover for the offense to hide behind. And they just pre-fired through it. And Bandit, being in the position that he was in, just was able to get the perfect opportunity to get all 3 of those kills. And then Smoke just doing his job behind that Mira, utilizing his utility and his positioning to just clean up the rest of the attack, because they just couldn't get that closet wall open. That was the big factor there. They just couldn't get it open. I'm not quite sure why Buck didn't try to throw grenades through the hatch in there, because you can bank some grenades into there and do a lot of damage. Most likely there was a Jaeger device in there, but just utilizing their own equipment on the offensive side, they could have burned the Jaeger, burned the ADS, made sure that there, was a way to get the grenades in there, and they just failed to do so, and it cost them the round, I think.
You hear a lot of casters, a lot of pros, a lot of analysts will tell you that if you're trying to push, even if you have even numbers, even if you maybe have one advantage, and Callie, I don't know what was happening there, but Callie eliminates Throw as Throw takes out Nyx, and I would imagine that they were just simply trying to prevent the run out, but Throw getting caught in the crossfire. Unfortunate for them, but at least it was a trade. Both of the Grom operators are done in the first 15 seconds of action. If I can just return to my point for 1 second, that right there was textbook. That previous round was textbook as to why they say you never want to be pushing in the final seconds. You had so many ways that the defense could see the very limited ways that the attackers had to get inside of sight. They really only had 2 options: either go through the door inside a wine, or maybe go in through wine stock if it's opened up. That's about it. The defenders, meanwhile, have 3 separate angles that they can hold to ensure that once you get in, you're going to get spotted. You become vulnerable when you start to get that plant down, and it's very easy for the defenders at that point to know the plant is going down and respond accordingly. Nomads held it very, very well, and Hydra, they did well as well, but when you're in a circumstance like that, you're going to need some serious luck to be able to thwart the defense.
Yeah, moving into this round, now that the offense has finally pinched Bandit and gotten themselves in a position to finally be up in numbers, even after that unfortunate team kill, not a lot of progress has been made by the offense. Right now, Pulse is actually probably going to get this kill onto Buck. He's just waiting for him to stay in still, but he actually jumped outside just in time. I'm not sure if he got a call out or if he heard the C4 getting pulled as he was bucking the floor. He is now still looking for Pulse, and now that they know Pulse is somewhere in kitchen, he's going to be watching this hatch and is going to get a very, very nice kill onto Buck. He's playing his life very well here, wasting a ton of time. Ash could come up behind him right now and take him down, but Jaeger is now crouch walking up the back library staircase, just waiting for that moment that he can come in clutch and clean up the round for his team and win the round. Blackbeard has to move now that they've lost a couple numbers. He has to cover some kind of a flank or push down the main staircase or make something happen here. Just looking around, trying to make sure he doesn't get picked off, because Pulse is still in dining room. They have to know that he's here, and Smoke is playing in B-Bomb trophy room. Jaeger has now rotated up the library staircase and is going to be moving. He might get caught here trying to push up, but he actually will take down Hibana instead. Very, very nice kill from RTC onto Callie. He now has full control of the hatch, but it looks like Euphoria will trade it back out and take down Pulse as a very, very, very nice kill from him, evening it back up. And they know Jaeger is upstairs. It's 15 seconds left. They don't have any real way to plant the diffuser. They're going to have to just go for the kills here. Jaeger hiding behind the bed, whiffs a couple shots, but will eventually take him down. Blackbeard will get the trade, but with 1 second left, there's no way that he can kill Smoke unless he gets some kind of crazy kill. He tried to go for the plant, but just couldn't quite get it, and the defense, aka Hydra, will win the map.
Same thing as before. You just run out of time. And there has to be better time management on both sides if they want to be able to make, I guess, a credible statement that they will come back. Nomads was in very good position there to win the round, but became a victim of the clock. And because of that, Hydra just needs to hold on, and they did their job perfectly. So Hydra takes round number 1 between the three of them, or match number 1 rather, 5-3. And we're going to see if there's a break in between, but that was a good showing. Main takeaways there was it took Nomads a while to figure out what Hydra was doing, and I think that was the big difference maker here. It's one thing if you as a team need some time to adjust to your opponents or to potentially find out their rhythm and get yourself in a position where you are able to punish them for their mistakes and capitalize on the things that you see as shortcomings. But that's not what happened in that situation. Nomads just, even though they played better the latter half of that map, there was too much of a gap for them to close. And if they had have even taken one of the first 3 rounds, I think we would have headed into overtime absolutely, and possibly even seen a Nomads win.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say before we do take a short break here, is like you said, they couldn't break that first 3 round momentum that Hydra established so quickly. They were kind of lost in the sauce a little bit, and we talked about, do we think Hydra looks better on defense or offense? In relation to that to that question that you had posed before, Hydra looked much better on offense, I think, and that they did win some defense rounds there, but I think that it was more to Nomads' mistakes that they made. Capitalizing on the small mistakes at high level play is pretty much makes or breaks your wins or losses. So what we saw out of that was Hydra just capitalized on Nomad's mistakes when they were on defense, winning those defensive rounds. But on offense, Hydra was near perfect. And Nomads just had to play catch up the whole time. They were never ahead, and it just wasn't enough.
Oh, so we'll head to their map, though, and we'll go to Oregon, which is a map that, even though Nomads picked it, I would imagine is going to work well for both teams. Hydra is a team that has been around more than long enough. I have seen them play on Oregon before. I know they'll be able to bring the heat, and Nomads might be in a tough spot, even though it's their own pick. We'll find out, though, in just a couple minutes. We'll head to a very short break, and we'll come back and see matchup number 2 between Hydra and Nomads, map 2, rather, Oregon. And welcome back, everybody, to our semifinals of the CCS Invite League Season 2. We just saw map number 1 between Hydra Gaming and the Nomads go in favor of Hydra 5-3. And we are now about to get underway with the second matchup, or the second map, rather, which is going to be on Oregon. My name is Intero. I am joined by Rams, and we are probably going to have just exciting a match this time as we did just see on map number 1. What do you think, Rams?
Well, I think that Oregon is a map that it's one of the most popular maps, obviously, but I think that it's just gonna, I think if this map doesn't go to some kind of overtime or a 6-5, it'll just be to the, mistakes that one team made more than the other. Because right now, this map is so, I don't want to call it overplayed, but it's played a lot. So both these teams should have tons of strategies, tons of adaptability on both attacks and defenses. I'm actually really surprised right now that we're not seeing a Capitao being brought by Nomads. Yes, they're bringing the Ying. Yes, they're bringing Blackbeard, bringing Jackal. See, look, here we go. They're changing up some of their operators here, but not bringing Capitao and now not even bringing Ying. I'm not quite sure why that is. Hopefully, maybe they'll bring something to the table we haven't seen before. But I think that maybe they did that because they anticipated that Hydra would go upstairs first, because that is what we're seeing out of them. And so we're just gonna have to see how it all plays out, because normally, first round attack is they pick operators to defend to attack the downstairs, not the upstairs. We'll just see how it all plays out.
Capitao is in a better place today than he was 2 days ago. And yet we don't see him on a map that we routinely see him on. That to me seems more that instead of trying to adapt to the changes that have been made and put him into a strategy, they don't want to risk that. Right now, Hydra is going to run what they know what works and go from there and hope that it works out.
Exactly, and this being Nomad's pick, we'll see if they can punish him for that, because hopefully, in that regard, Nomads will have come up with something to utilize all of the new changes to the full extent. Right now, we have 3 drones for Ash. It's pretty insane. If there's any roamers, I feel bad for them. Right now, Ella is coming around the corner now, coming back towards the drones, getting spotted, and Ash is just waiting for her, and it's going to take her out immediately. That is just the most unfortunate timing for that Ella, but kind of played herself. She was running around 3 different drones. I don't know what she thought was going to happen other than that, with Ash pushing into the building so quickly and taking control of meeting. Nomads now have the advantage moving into this round.
That was quite a drone escort. I mean, it worked out. You used 3 drones. You absolutely secure a kill on probably the best roamer that is in the game right now in terms of Ella, and one of the strongest players in the game, which is Nyx. Callie having a great degree of difficulty with those windows on kids, and instead, I guess, just opting to use the Type 89 rather than melee the windows. Though, off screen, the Bandit of Mail will take down the Ash of Throw, so that drone escort only lasts so long. And another drone will go in. You can see some bandit juggling taking place just on that closet wall inside of Master, courtesy of Mailman, as Sharsh surveys from below. There was a ping through the floor. The Mirror of Aviation eliminates Callie now too, and now Sharsh will sustain some damage from the bandit, but plays it so well, and down goes Mail, and Aviation still inside of Kitchen will be the next target. They'll open up his Mirror as Aviation will look to try to push inside a bathroom. Sharsh, who was in Classroom, now works his way up to Armory and can use that long-range ACOG sight to look down inside of the rotate spot through kids. Final 50 seconds, 3 defenders, 3 attackers, a smoke and a lesion still on, so you're going to get a lot of value out of your operators. But Aviation and the Sledge of Euphoria on a collision course right now, and Aviation pulls that one off.
That was a great pre-fire there by Aviation, obviously having some kind of sound cue or call out from his teammate to get that kill and secure it and keep control of the downstairs. And right now, Jackal rotating over to the kids' dorms windows, throwing that smoke to, I'm not sure what reason, I guess, to provide him a little bit extra cover, maybe so that nobody can run out of dining and get him. But that doesn't seem to be the case, as Blackbeard is taking a lot of fire there from Mira, who has now been taken out in a 2v2 scenario with 10 seconds left, though. Smoke is going to come in so clutch here. Lesion, along with his traps, is going to get a down, and that round's going to get finished off there. Hydra coming in with that first round defense. And I want to point out, I talked about Oregon being very just being played a lot, and what we saw were some very interesting kill holes made in the floor by Hydra that caught Ash off guard, even though Jackal made a great play being played by Sharsh to take down that bandit and then open the mirror in Kitchen. It just wasn't enough to get them back into the game. And Mira played that very well downstairs. I think that kill on Sledge was one of the most important kills of the round.
The fact that they took so long to try to get to Aviation alone was a problem, but Anime on that Blackbeard putting in a lot of work to hold that flank and make sure that the push worked, and it was very well coordinated. Didn't really matter that Nomads were able to start off that strong because Hydra just played it too well. Their anchors did their roles and performed way more than needed to be. And I mean, it's strange because Legion is not usually your go-to anchor, but on Oregon, he seems to inhabit this special, I don't even know what you'd call it, the special role, the special orbit, where he sees more play on this map than I feel any other. I think there's a couple reasons for that. Been discussed previously in that most of the attackers have to come through a couple routes that you are more than able to line up with goo mines, which not only work as a deterrent, but also will give you a good sound of where the actual attackers are and a good idea of where they are too. So now, however, Hydra is going to move to attack. They're going to bring both a Capitao and a Ying. So you mentioned that you thought it was interesting that we didn't see either. Well, now we got them both.
Exactly. Hydra looking to maybe punish Nomads for not taking and trying to utilize the new changes being brought into the meta, so to speak. Right now, Ash and Ying working in conjunction, but Ying almost getting taken out there. That would have been a huge loss for the offense if that had happened. But what seems to be currently happening is Ash and Ying pushing together, just trying to get control of the big tower and meeting from the backside, as there is a offensive player hiding behind the white van, just waiting for anybody to try to flank up from below. Jaeger has to know that and just has to be prepared to just not go this way. This doesn't seem to be the play that he needs to make, as there is someone playing there, but he's actually getting a spot from a camera and is going to go for a pre-fire, almost taking Sledge down. He is now able to rotate through the classroom and moving upstairs, most likely. Sledge having a lot of issues right now. I'm not sure what camera is spotting him. There's no Valkyrie on the map, so there's just cameras outside that they didn't take out that are giving them that spot, and there we go. We just see a mistake being made by Hydra, costing them a lot of health off of Sledge, a bunch of rotations that should have never happened from the defense, and now the offense has full control of meeting. Capitao just getting rid of some of that barbed wire, and Ella has now been taken out by Ash, moving into the final 1 minute and 20 seconds of the round.
Just under halfway to go, and you've lost one on each. I would argue that the Ying is far more valuable than the Ella. So right now, advantage in favor of Nomads, but you still have that Capitao to do a similar job, but not identical. Sharsh eliminates Nyx as Rudy Cat takes out Callie. So they will trade different operators and different members of the team and not trade off one another. You lose a Bandit and an Ash. Pretty even there, as you can hear a couple of those arrows from the Capitao go down. RTC had lost some health, but he'll eliminate Sharsh, and Rudy Cat had sustained some damage too before Mail can jump in and eliminate Anime, and Euphoria, while starting with RTC, will need to do 2 more. The Sledge hop breaches, but Euphoria greets him with the SMG-11, and it'll leave Rudy Cat going for the plant just behind the B-bomb. A smoke will go out, leaving 2 still left, and Euphoria, what a clutch! As he takes down Rudy Cat, and Nomads had no business winning that round, but they do so anyway.
That was fantastic. Great play by Smoke to throw the smoke and then to push through the other side, kind of baiting out that Thermite, especially when Thermite was even baiting him, trying to go for the fake plant a little bit. But I think we saw a lot of mistakes from that offensive push, even though we talked about the operator selection and how it might push in their favor. Losing Ying at the beginning, not at the beginning, but in the middle of the round, they just didn't get a chance to utilize their any of the utility. And like you said, Capitao just couldn't come in clutch enough, and they never got themselves into position to really go for a plant until it was in a 1v1 scenario. It's just too slow coming out from the offense that round.
A good hold. Nomads, Euphoria, just proving that Smoke can clutch out. And that's what you really need of anchors too. Let's take the prep phase and all that and really delve into what an anchor is, we give a ton of spotlight to your Ellas, to your Ashes, to your Hibanas, to your Jaegers, your Bandits, your Roamers, the operators that are built to get the frags that you need. Often underlooked or overlooked and underappreciated is that you need to be able to rely on your site players, those are your anchors, to be able to clutch out rounds too. A 1v3 as an anchor is never a great spot to be in, but as an anchor, you're going to find yourself in that spot a lot, especially because of mistakes that your teammate might make, or mistakes that you might make, and helping your team earlier on. To be able to have players be able to clutch that out, like a Mira, like a Doc, like a Rook, like an Echo, like a Smoke, that will be extremely helpful, and Nomads just benefited really hard.
Another thing that I wanted to quickly add before we get into the next round is that most likely, we talked about, the anchors not getting a lot of the credit that they get. As a support player, that Smoke was most likely on that junkyard camera that almost got Jaeger that kill on the sledge. Other, factors come into play when you're, anchoring, not only just sitting in sight and waiting for the last 30 seconds to make something happen in a 1v3 scenario. But moving into this round, we do have Blackbeard and Sledge and Ash, pretty much all of the offensive players moving in, but Nick's just coming up that staircase and taking out Ash at the perfect moment, just waiting for that sound cue, and Ash just didn't have the cover that she needed, probably just trying to leave the building in a way that really just alerted Ella to her presence and her exact location, which obviously just paid off in the end for the defense, as they now have taken off the main pusher, and Blackbeard now moving in through the attic, just making sure that there is nobody up top, but these holes made above here could go to his benefit, as Castle is trying to play this very, very dangerous game with Sledge here, while Sledge wields that ACOG scope. Blackbeard taking a ton of damage, as Ella is now thinking about rotating back upstairs, just waiting. Bandit now playing back behind this double doorway, has taken some damage, and Castle and Bandit are wasting a ton of time here. The offense have to get them out of meeting. They have to take full control. Smoke just playing downstairs, waiting patiently for something to happen, as Bandit has made his way into the kitchen and is now playing on that side. Castle is rotated back downstairs, and all these drones from the offense are going to give the indication that the coast is clear in meeting, so to speak. Thatcher just waiting and holding this flank, just making sure that nobody rotates up from that bottom laundry staircase, as Hibana is going to move in here. Right there, we saw Ella trying to move up the stairs, but Thatcher will take him down, and is now a 4v4 scenario with 50 seconds to go.
Even if you're at a numbers disadvantage, anime on that Blackbeard has been proven to be good enough for 2 operators. Most rounds wouldn't be too surprising to see something similar, as he looks just above box, got the bottom of the wall open, so a potential drop could be a pinch from either side, depending on the way that the defense are situated. You can see the Mira playing back Mira window, looking towards the tower stairs. A flash will go down, and that might blind the Mira, but Aviation eliminates Euphoria. That was the Sledge, and will now try to contend with the Blackbeard on top of Hatch. One smoke goes down inside a box, and that will force out the Thatcher, who is inside a blue, and look to push in. A C4 will miss, but still claims Sharsh, as Aviation takes out the shield, and Rudy Cat and Mail add to that. They answer the call, and Hydra take back what was stolen from them in round number 2 on a hail of bullets. Hydra goes up 2-1.
Very, very nice hold there by the defense. Bandit and Castle wasted a ton of time. And then even though Ella did get taken down by Thatcher, who was holding that flank, just trying to prevent that rotate, it just wasn't enough for the offense to clutch it up. They just never got into a position. Once again, they just never got in position to plant. It just couldn't quite happen. We are seeing Ying and Capitao being brought. Once again, the exact same operator selection we saw before from the last offense round by Hydra. We're going to see if they can make something happen here as we move into the 4th round, while Nomads defend the kids' dorms. And I think that even though they're not defending downstairs and they brought the Ying and the Capitao, I still think that they're still very good operators to select here. It just opens up a ton of avenues, especially with Thermite being able to open up that classroom wall. No Bandit being brought by the defense is going to be easy access for them. I anticipate that Hydra will win this round, but obviously it's up to Nomads to prove me wrong.
The biggest issue right now that Nomads is facing is not only are they trailing in round count, but also map count. This is the semifinals. Winner goes on to the final. it would be a big deal for Hydra to be able to get there. A team that started out as Nerva, won the CCS Open, played quite well, if I remember correctly, and actually played in the finals due to, or no, sorry, that was that Euphoria? That was Team Euphoria, the team that was known as Euphoria at the time that actually made it to the finals last time around. Nerva finishing in the top 4 last season, so they've been very consistent. And now it's time for Hydra to prove that they can compete against the winner of Ronin versus the team formerly known as Flipside, now known as Homeless R6. Tried to convince them to use my face as a logo and my name as their team name, but they wouldn't go for it. So Hydra starting on attack. They will bring a Capitao and a Ying yet again. A couple shots will rattle just past the head of the dock in kids' dorms. That'll just prompt him to move out of the way. Already, Armory and Master has been taking complete control of, though I question why Nyx is upstairs inside of Master. A lot of times you will want your Ash position below so that you can not just use those breaching rounds through the floor, but also that R4C with its fast rate of fire and high damage can take somebody out with pretty good ease without needing to be challenged. And as a 3-speed, you can make sure you get back on site or push up to help your team if need be, much faster than another operator that might be a 2 or a 1-speed.
Right now, Capitao droning out Ella, and she's going to rotate back downstairs. She doesn't know that she's been spotted, and Sledge is just waiting for her to make that rotation. This wall getting opened up now. You mentioned Ash not being downstairs and why she might not be downstairs. I think it's because they figured out that there was no bandit. They didn't need the Ash rounds down below to open up the floor, because I think that's one of the primary reasons that Ash does go downstairs. But Ying now moving into the closet, and Capitao actually going to throw some flame bolts around, trying to get a pick with those flame bolts. Mira throwing her C4, trying to go for something, but doesn't get anything now. Ying throwing another smoke. They've...
Folks, we're sorry about the delay in the casting. Seems that our Discord is having a little bit of an issue, so we apologize for the inconvenience. Enjoy some gameplay while we get the Discord issue sorted. We apologize for that, and we will be back with you shortly. Again, we're going to let the game continue, and we will be back just as soon as we can.
I suppose we'll have to do that.
Yeah.
We are going to hear ourselves in the feed. That's the only issue. So we will have to mute the actual feed. Wonderful. So thank you so much for putting up with all of the technical difficulties. Our apologies here. We should be able to end the audio in the stream itself. You used to be able to hear us. Now you cannot. Just a bit of a technical hiccup. That was on Discord's end, not on our actual production's end, so we apologize. But you got to see an entertaining round, and almost as if it was a clean feed for yourselves without our voices to tell you what you were seeing. You had to use your imagination. Nomads won the round, and instead of giving Hydra, I guess, that extra length, that extra lead, we now have we have a heck of a match right now.
Exactly. Like I said, this game was going to be close. This map is played so much and so often that these teams have to have something. It doesn't matter which team wants to play it. They're both going to have it. Right now, Nick's picking up a kill and now getting a second kill as he runs outside violently and is going to take down the Ash as well with the pistol on the turnaround. Oh my goodness. If he doesn't get killed coming back inside, while he does get killed by Blackbeard coming back inside, it would have been crazy. Bandit, however, will pick up a kill while playing up in the tower as well. And Blackbeard is now in a 1v4 clutch scenario where he has to make something happen. I think he's just going to, not necessarily, I don't want to call it throwing the round, but he's going to make a quick play, just try to do something out of the ordinary to see what happens, because he's not going to be able to do anything predictable because the defense is just going to be waiting for him. They're going to be just holding different angles, waiting for him to make some kind of a play. We're just going to have to see what Blackbeard decides to do here, as Anime is going to be coming through Kitchen. He's going to jump through, maybe take out this Mira. Mira might not know that he's there, and he's going to peek. Mira does know that he's there, however, goes for a pre-fire. He's going to jump through here. As the C4 comes out, the C4 misses. Mira has no idea where he is, but the shots from above from Legion will take down Blackbeard, as the defense will win this round very convincingly. Great play by that Ella. Who was playing Ella there?
That was Nyx, who absolutely hops out like the madman he is and takes them all down. Pulled out the pistol and Ash. I would wonder, if anything, if that was the reason why the Ash wasn't able to secure that kill onto Nyx, was because of the fact that she was running an ACOG, and at that close range, a lot harder to aim when somebody's right up in your face. And that pistol, even though low DPS, still consistently landing those shots. And Nyx gives his team a little bit of breathing room to break that tie, and then Mail was able to get a kill as well. And even though Anime is a strong player, you're in a 1v4, you're a Blackbeard. It's very easy to expose some of your body, even though that rifle shield will probably be able to get you a kill without losing your own life. Somebody's there to add to that, and now they're going to go back on attack. We see once again a Ying and a Capitao, so no Glass being employed. That's all right. Going downstairs, you don't really necessarily need a Glass for the basement. Not as much as you do, I would argue, on the second floor, but you're going to have, 4 smokes on the board. You're going to have a lot of flashes and stuns, and then the 2 frags a Mail. That's going to be more than useful. Except the only thing is that they realize that there's going to be I guess they realize there's going to be too many projectiles for them to contend with. They're not even going to bother running a Jaeger on defense. They'll bring a Pulse instead. They'll say, no, thank you. The ADS is not effective enough. And we'll see how it works. As you can hear, Aviation, first couple shots as that LMG rattles off in the background. But Mail eliminates Anime, who was playing quite cheekily in front of the main door in main lobby.
One thing I want to point out that an adaptation that this defense has made is before Az actually gets that kill onto Ying, once again Ying getting taken off the board very early, is that before they weren't reinforcing that laundry room hatch. I don't know if you noticed that earlier. They weren't reinforcing that because they said to themselves, well, if they bring Hibana and Thermite, it doesn't matter, if we reinforce it or not. But now that they only have a Thermite being brought, it puts them in a position where they have to open up certain things. And right now, opening up that back meeting hall is not the ideal place to use that utility. They need that other Thermite charge to be used at the main laundry room hatch now if they want to make this push as effective as it can possibly be. But at the moment, I'm sure that they're going to rotate him around to do that. Exactly what I'm talking about. They have to. Only thing they can do, and unfortunately, if Pulse was still alive right now, they would be in such good shape. But right now, Mira trying to take down Thermite, desperately trying to take him down, will actually down Capitao, but then immediately gets traded out by Ash, as she was playing in a strange spot. But Ella now is going to get taken down by Mail playing Sledge. And now it's all up to Bandit and Smoke, even though there is only 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Smoke and Bandit are in a terrible position in a 4v2 scenario where everything seems to be opened up and waiting for the offense to just take advantage of it.
A lot of pressure on Nomads now, as this is a Hydra that can easily go toe-to-toe with either Ronin or Homeless, depending on which of the two decides to win their match later today. Some flashes going down, and you can hear the asphyxiating bolts as Callie eliminates Nyx. That's your Ash off, and another drop will go down, and they will essentially trade Callie down. That's going to leave only Euphoria up. A frag goes off, and we'll claim Callie. That's Mailman completing it. And Euphoria with the shotgun right to the chest of RTC. Capitao down, but not long enough range to deal with the Thermite of Rudy Cat. And Hydra is going to be on match point in what is Nomads map, and that community right now looking like they picked the wrong horse.
I'm not stunned by Hydra's performance, but I think that they cross their T's and they dot their I's. They don't leave anything open for Nomads to take advantage of. I mean, and once again, I think we're kind of seeing the same thing we saw on Chalet in terms of Hydra is exposing the mistakes that Nomads is making, whether or not it's forced by Hydra's play or whether it's just Nomad just making small mistakes and Hydra capitalizing on it. It's just we're seeing, I think, just a higher performance level right now by Hydra. Maybe it's just their day. Maybe this is an off day for Nomads. We talked about Nomads and their performance throughout the season and how dominant they were, but right now they're facing elimination from the tournament, as this is the semifinal match, and Hydra just looking fantastic moving into match point, like you said.
A strong performance from them on defense now. They'll bust out an Echo and go anchor heavy with 2 roamers. That would be... This site is interesting because you can do a couple things. As much as you want to see Mira usually be a site player, you can deploy her off-site and still have her be quite effective as long as those Miras are already down. Same with Smoke. Smoke you will want on site 99.9% of the time, but you can get away with it if you have an Echo, if you have a Mira, if you have, you know, a Pulse that's playing on site himself. You can potentially have a Smoke just delay and waste a lot of time. We've seen him on Oregon, specifically upstairs inside of kids' dorms, but I'd imagine that they're going to probably stick 3 right now on site and have Nyx and Male be the 2 to just rotate. Likely have one of them playing at a rear tower, which is where they appear to be right now, as Nomads storming inside of Kitchen altogether as a drone escort will help Throw be able to get in. No real push or no real defense right now in Meeting Hall. That is something you don't see all that often. Likely have one playing up in Attic. Ella's going to get caught out right away, and a great pinch from Nomads to start things off, and down goes Nyx, who has looked good this game, to give Nomads an advantage of 1 right now on match point.
I think that Ella just spent a little bit too much time trying to play inside of that garage, maybe even up in the armory area. We didn't really see where she was, and right now we're seeing that they're going to have to pay for it now. They lost that Ella, who could have stayed alive probably a lot longer if she'd been playing in Meeting Hall. But right now, Sledge is opening up the top of the staircase as Ash is putting some pre-fires down towards the hallway. However, Male, as Bandit, is going to get 1 kill playing in the upper part of the attic and is going to rotate back down. No, he's actually going to come back up. A grenade was thrown by Sledge to try to pick up that kill. Bandit is still playing up at the 2nd level of the tower, not all the way up, and a drone is going to spot him, but all that's going to happen is Sledge is going to watch the flank and wait for Bandit to make a move. There's no reason to push him. He's too far away from the objective to make it worth their time. Blackbeard moving now down the stairs to peek the angle while someone tries to go for the plant. However, there are C4s and an Echo drone, which is placed very, very nice on top of that shelf. That's a very interesting spot for an Echo drone. They're not going to see it moving around ever. It's just going to be in a position to stop the plant at all times. But Blackbeard is going to spot it and take it out. Very, very nice coming out from this offense, being able to spot the utility of the defenders and knowing exactly what they're up against to start looking for things that need to get taken out. A grenade going down now might get that kill behind the Mira, but does not. Smoke living very, very dangerously right now without a Jaeger device behind that Mira.
And takes some of his health away, though, but Rudy still hangs on. RTC exchanges bullets with Callie. He takes some damage, but Callie ends up being the one to go down. And now an advantage in favor of the defense. Anime falling, your Blackbeard goes down, your Sledge and your Ash, the last 2 left, just Sharsh and Euphoria to try and make their team come back against Hydra. Hydra, of course, if they win this, they move on. Down backstairs, Sharsh will go. Euphoria inside a main lobby. They are split, and it will be tough sailing for this team. Sharsh now pressures up, but the defense will know where they're coming from. Euphoria, though, eliminates Male, and Sharsh takes RTC down. Rudy Cat eliminates Euphoria. It's all up to Sharsh to clutch, but the time will run out, and Nomads eliminated. They'll play for 3rd. To the finals, go Hydra Gaming, and what a performance on both maps. 5-3 and 5-2.
GG indeed. That was very, very well played by Hydra. Great plays all around. And you talked about, Echo being picked and foregoing that Jaeger, saying that we don't need those that utility. They don't have a lot of nades being thrown. They didn't bring a Ying. it just I think that that last round they just knew they needed to just hold down and wait. Ella, even though she did get picked off early, wasted enough time for them to get a grip of what was going on. And Mail playing that flank very intelligently never gave them the peace of mind that nobody was going to come up behind them, and stayed alive all the way almost until the very end.
So Nomads will have some things to go back and refine a team with tons of potential going up against another team with a similar amount of potential, but just outgunned and outplayed today. So good job for them. And we will see Hydra on Friday competing in the finals. We'll see Nomads on Friday as well. They, however, will be playing the loser of our next matchup, which we will get to just after this short break. Very exciting. Two Pro League teams. Ronan, you knew them as Onslaught, and then Homeless R6, you knew them as Flipside. That'll be up just in a couple minutes. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a few. Go stretch your legs, grab some water, etc., and we'll be right back.